It's 6 o'clock. I call this meeting of the Diamond Head POA Board to order. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call?
Yes, President Sislo, Vice President DeRusso,
Present.
Treasurer Blackwood,
Present.
Secretary Burgoyne, present, Ex officio Becker,
Present.
Director Griffey,
Present.
Director LaFontaine,
Present.
Director Lee,
Here.
Director Nutting,
Here.
Director Pino,
Here.
Director Tubbs.
Present.
We thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Secretary, can we have the minutes for our last meeting on August 18th, 2025?
I'd like to make a motion that we dispense of the reading of the minutes. We've got a busy agenda tonight and keep things moving.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Everybody's in favor? Motion passes. Let's move to the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the agenda as submitted. Oh. That's the other.
Make a motion that we would amend the agenda to dispense with reading the executive summary from the last meeting, the minutes from the executive summary.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yeah, second.
Okay, all in favor for the motion to pass the executive session minutes? Any opposed?
Go away.
Motion passes.
I move we approve the minutes of the executive session.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes of the executive session? Any opposed? Motion passes. We're able to move to the agenda. The President's report can be viewed in the monthly newsletter. She's absent today. Can we have the Treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report?
Yes, sir.
I never, okay. The Treasury report is.
Well, it's on the agenda. I'm sorry if you have anything.
We normally don't have a Treasurer's report, we have a President's report. It is on. Is that better? Okay. All right, if we're going to have a Treasurer's report, my understanding is that the cash balance is under $400,000 at this point in time, which is a concern. I mean, we need to have enough money to get to the end of the year. And last month, before depreciation, we made $54,000, and after depreciation, we lost $8,000. Depreciation is non-cash, so that's why we report both of those. And year to date, we have made $173,000 before depreciation, and lost $332,000 after depreciation. That's all I have.
Sounds good. Thank you. We'll go to the committee reports. Director Pino, would you like to start?
I would. I have two reports. First, the report of the Marina Airport Committee is really that there is no report, except there's a motion, as I think some of you here realize, there's a motion today dealing with the airport. The other report that I'm connected with, I'm the chairman of, is the Amenity Study Committee. And that committee was created in July. We met this prior period. And to really understand the committee and what it's doing, I want to go back in time. The history in the committee that I'm talking about, the Amenity Study Committee, is the one that's studying the transfer of amenities from the POA to the city or to anybody else. And the history of that really started back in the spring when the city manager and our general manager began discussing the community center, and the the city expressed an interest in acquiring the community center and indicated that it was willing to pay money for the community center. Then on May 19th, the POA published a vision statement that you can see on the website, where it indicated an interest in divesting or selling 5 particular amenities. Then the June elections happened, and a new council people and a new mayor for the city came in. On July 11, we, as a board, authorized our general manager to solicit an offer from the city for certain amenities. That wasn't done, or wasn't done to the president's satisfaction. In any case, that authority was revoked on July 21, and at that same time, this amenity committee was formed. I was made the chairman of the amenity committee. On August 4th, the city issued a resolution 2025-40, in which they said they'd be willing to accept a donation of 5 different amenities. Now, their 5 amenities were not the same 5 amenities that we had expressed an interest in divesting or selling. On August 18, the board gave me authority to discuss with the city their resolution. On August 21, we met with the city to discuss their resolution regarding the amenity donations. And we asked them a couple things. We asked them to take additional properties, the East Rec ball fields, which were not part of their original wish list of donated amenities, and to pay a reasonable sum of money for the amenities, the assets that they were going to take. That was August 21. On September 4, the city had met and they notified us that they considered our requests to enlarge the amenity list and to pay us money, and they rejected both. There would be no changes to their resolution. So as it stands, the city's resolution is that they want the football fields on Noma, which they're now leasing for a nominal sum, but they're leasing it. They want the community center. They want the Twin Lakes areas. They want the public works yard where they store their equipment, in which they are now leasing for a real lease fee. And they want the airport, and they also want 16 lots that are building lots, which they may or may not be drainage lots. We haven't nailed that all down yet. And that's where we stand with the city. On September 10th, the amenity committee met to discuss that development, and we discussed how we should proceed, and by a majority vote, we proposed the proposal that's on the agenda today, which is to keep an open dialogue with the city to continue to discuss their wish for some amenities and our wish for some money, but to also for us to look for other buyers of one or more of the amenities. And that is our proposal 2025-34. Also on the agenda tonight is another agenda having to do with the donation of amenities, and we'll discuss that later. But they're interrelated, and I think in real terms, the second proposal, 2025-35, if approved, shuts the door on proposal 2025-34. But we'll discuss that when the motions and proposals are discussed. That's it.
Thank you, Director Pino. Director Tubbs?
Yeah, the rec committee did meet this month. Kind of start by acknowledging the changing of the seasons that we're in, right? Kids are back in school, football games are on TV, and Halloween decorations are already popping up, and we're prepping for another trunk or treat. Just wanted to take a moment to just give a big thanks and appreciation to Chuck, Michael Truelove, Brittany, Summer, Sophia, Beverly, Alexis, Taylor, and Charles. These are the folks who spent the summer working as pool attendants, with Brittany and Diane kind of leading that team. Just want to acknowledge, we gave them some challenges this year, And the group really did do its best, I feel like, to take care of members, and just wanted to give them the kudos that I think their hard work this summer is warranted. As it is kind of the end of the year and the changing of the seasons, I walked with Diane each of the polls to look at where we are in terms of wear and tear and necessary upkeep and repairs that are needed. Happy to report that actually the Holiday and the North Rec polls are in really, really good shape. But there is a good bit of work that I think is going to need to be invested this off-season, both at our main pool and at the East Rec pool. Kind of discussed those findings with the committee, and we're starting to try to prioritize those investments for the, potentially the beginning part of the spring of next year to have those corrections made. Also looking and kind of working with in-house counsel on what's in the world of possible to accept volunteers, folks who have some trade skills in Diamond Head that want to come and donate time to help the betterment of some of these areas. So we're looking into that possibility. Probably the biggest concern for all members, each of these pools have a main pump that replacement cost is about $10K on. And each of the 4 pumps that we have are 8 to 10 years old at this point, and that's kind of the end of what you would expect is the useful life of those particular pieces of equipment. And so we're trying to be proactive and giving the board, going to try to work to give to the board, those areas of concern and the areas of investment we think are needed, for those facilities. No proposals at this point came out of the rec committee, but we did meet a couple weeks ago, and that pretty much wraps up the report at this time.
Thank you, Director Tubbs. Director LaFontaine?
House committee did not meet.
Thank you. Director Nutting?
I'll defer to the committee chairs.
Director Griffey?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Director Lee?
Yeah, the Golf and Grounds Committee did meet back on September 3rd. Just a few highlights from the Green Superintendent. He's looking to hire a few more people to get his staff back up to the levels it needs to be. They'll be starting a bunker maintenance a little more intensive now that the grass season is slowing down. There won't be as many people cutting grass. They're plugging the greens on the Cardinal, trying to enhance some of the areas that were affected by the fungus or whatever it was. And then from the golf side of it, from Director of Golf, the summer membership drive, we added 19 new members. And then the $69 golf special that they use with lunch and golf, I think there was over 250 rounds that went to that, so it was a really good turnout for that as well. One of the other things that came up is that we no longer have the Lightning system, the Thorgard system. We finally disabled it. It was starting to give us problems. And so the decision was made to pull it down and actually go back to playing at your own risk. And it's been documented. It's been sent out on email blast, and it's also in every one of the golf carts now. They have a little sticker about what to do whenever you start seeing inclement weather. And that's about it.
Great, thank you. Ex officio Becker?
I have nothing to add.
Treasurer Blackwood?
I have nothing else to report.
All right, thank you. Can we have the general manager's report at this time?
Hi, can everybody hear me? Okay, great. First, I'm going to go over the financials for August, and I think Bill hit some of the high points. Revenue for the month was $738,000. Expenses were $684,000, and that gave us a $54,000 positive in operational expenses. P&L was minus $8,000 and included depreciation. So what's helped us in the August revenue growth was the restaurant grew $29,000 in revenue over the previous month. Events added another $10,000. Golf was up $20,000. The $69 golf special that Ernie had just talked about has generated over 250 rounds, and we brought in 19 new members. So those things are all moving in the in the right direction. Bank balance at the end of the month was $440,000. Obviously, it's been a few weeks and is now under $400,000. We do expect the last 4 months to have positive operating expenses. The weather's getting better. We've implemented steak night and wine pairings, gotten excellent reviews with those. Ballroom events are now beginning to pick up, and we implemented a new menu in the Latitude 30. However, cash flow is still a concern. October is a 3-pay period month, so that's going to be very expensive. We are securing a small loan to cover us just in case we need it, and we continue to wait on a COVID check of $400,000. With those COVID checks, you just get in line. There is no schedule, and we're just waiting for that to come. We are preparing the budget for 2026. Our goal is to create a budget that allows us to increase our cash on hand and spend on needed capital improvement projects, kind of like what Michael was talking about. So spending has now been brought in line on a day-to-day basis. However, revenue growth has been a little bit slow. Items that will be discussed in the budget would be disposition of certain amenities, POA dues increase, potential reduction, and with that, the worry is with the dues increase is the potential reduction of POA members due to the covenant changes. So even though we would increase the amount of dues, it would be offset by some drop in membership with the POA dues, and that's a tough balancing act that we're trying to work on. Our vision is to make adjustments in 2026 that will allow us to become fiscally sound moving forward. In other words, the can has been kicked to the end of the road. We're going to fix it now and make it right moving forward. I'd also like to talk a little bit about events. We hosted 2 junior golf events in the month. We had a drive, chip, and putt contest championship. So we brought the kids in for that. And then U.S. Kids Golf, we had the Gulf State Invitational. Now, the Gulf State Invitational is a big deal. That was applied to the kids' world rankings on the junior circuit. And we did have a boy named Brent Underwood in the 13, 14-year-old division who had a 2-day total of 132. He shot 66, 66.
Wow.
2 days in a row. Tremendous amount of golf. Fantastic. What's coming up in the month, October 8th, is Cruising the Coast and Blessings of the Classics, staging by City Hall with live music 4 to 7. October 12th, we have the Fall Family Fun Day on the event lawn from 1 to 4. They'll have bounce houses, games, prizes, food, beverages for purchase, and it's free and it's open to everybody. On October 18th, the Club at Diamond Head Fall Fest, the Club at Diamond Head Fall Fest. That's at the traffic circle in front of the club from 10 to 3. There'll be over 70 vendors selling arts, crafts, jewelry. Ronnie Hammonds will be providing background music. It's free to attend. All the vendor spots are full, and there's a free shuttle from the City of Diamond Head parking lot. So a great event. October 20th is Trunk or Treat, and that's from 5:30 to 7:30. Again, the traffic circle around the club. Reservations are now accepted. Call the POA office. POA members and immediate families can attend this, limited to 450 kids. The club will have a special menu available. Ronnie Hammonds is playing spooky and fun music. Prizes for the best decorated vehicles, and reserve your spot to join in the fun. And then each Saturday night through the fall, we're having live music on the patio. So all good stuff. That's where we are right now. We're in a pretty good shape in terms of working through our day-to-day operations financially, but this upcoming year is another $280,000 in property taxes. We have the burden of difficulty with the covenants running out in the POA. So it's going to be a challenging year, and this is what we're trying to address now with Bob talking about the amenities. We're working on some things around the property taxes with the assessor and the POA dues to try to get all this in line. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Rick,
Mr. Goldstein.
Rick, before you leave, the statement doesn't have any revenue for the camp house. Will you check on that? We should have a rent check from them.
$5,000, $6,500 a month coming from.
Yeah, but it's not on here. It says nothing.
Oh, gotcha.
Will you
Okay.
check it?
Yes, will do.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board for Mr. Goldstein? Thank you, Mr. Goldstein. Director Penow, do we have any POA member comments on agenda items?
We have several. First is Mary Ann Trail.
Okay, let's remember to keep it to 3 minutes. Please come up and, excuse me? Okay.
Okay. Second person up is Austin Wilder.
Good evening. Just be sure to speak into the microphone so people watching on YouTube can hear you.
Everybody's perfect. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. I just moved into Diamond Head. Okay. Just moved into Diamond Head on the. Be great. Thank you so much. I just moved into Diamond Head on the south side. Love it here. Was asked to bring a couple comments to the meeting tonight, and also came to bring some comments specifically related to the airport and the usage of the airport. We're talking about levying a fee. Some big questions that I have are we going to release a feasibility study on the fees that are going to be levied, and when will that occur, if we have one already made? Next, do we have a timeline for creating a fee structure for those that are on the waterfront that are using an amenity because they have waterfront property and have a boathouse going into that amenity? How do we plan to enforce these fees? Beyond that, what does this user fee apply to? Provided, let's say that we create a fee. Where does that go to? What does that money actually go to? How can we be assured where it's going, what it's going for? And would we be allowed to view the accounting records of that and things of that nature? What can we be assured of? Do we plan to open the airport for commercial use later down the line? Let's see. In addition to all those, it is my understanding that class of membership as a concept, talking about fee structure, it has been struck down by many of the legislative bodies that are of the concern right now. So typically it'd be Mississippi Supreme Court for us. With that in mind, how do we plan to implement this fee structure, specifically just for those members in the community? And if that's the case, if that becomes an issue, are we going to move to a use-based fee, essentially per use base? And if that is the case, when could we expect to get somewhat of a structure or a plan of what those use-based fees are, somewhat of a bill of fees? Beyond that, one of the final questions is, does the committee plan to use ADSB data for billing if we go to a use-based fee? That's pretty much it.
We normally don't answer questions right here, so if you have those lists, it was quite long.
Yes.
Can you give us a copy of it? We can have a look at it and have an opportunity to get back to you.
We will. I'll forward those on. I appreciate your time.
And I think some of those things might be discussed when we bring up the motion, so thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
That'll be the case. Not
Thank you
all
very
of
much.
them, but some of
But
them.
yeah, definitely some of them will be brought up so we can get you some answers tonight.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next up is Paulette Snyder Gilbert.
I'm Paulette Snyder Gilbert. I live on the south side on the airport, and as I've said many times, I bought there for the use of the airport. I have always believed in Diamond Head, and I've always promoted the Diamond Head POA. I have encouraged every person that has ever bought here to become a member, even when it was voluntary, because most of us are voluntary now. At this point, I'm seeing that you're wanting, or it's being proposed that we're going to have some kind of user fee. Again, the questions are questions that you cannot answer for where you are unless you review the questions. When we go into user fees, they're going to be for every airplane. We've had several just this past 2 weeks that have come down the taxiways just to visit, see what we look like, and leave. how are you gonna bill that? So ADSB, as Austin mentioned, that can't be used for billing. I'm sure that anyone who's a pilot, because I'm not, knows this. The user fee, is it for a golf cart going to go check on a house, a neighbor's house down there, or is it just for the airplanes? Or is it when you're relocating your car to use that taxiway? What kind of fee is this, and why is it being proposed? We pay our dues, most of us in this room pay our dues, and that's why we're here. We expect to get something out of what we pay. I know that most of you are golfers and you enjoy a beautiful golf course. I've been on that golf course one time on a golf cart just to look at a house. So I want you to have your golf course. I want you to have what you pay for. But I also think it's fair that we get what we pay for as well. When it comes to these fees, are we planning on doing fees for every amenity, like the golf cart paths and the boat slips and so on and so forth, or is it just a user fee for the Diamond Head Airport people in general? We've got traffic coming in from guests that are fueling down here that we've never had this much fuel sales before, so we're bringing in positive traffic. Once if these fees are imposed, are we going to see our runway the way it should be? Because right now there's a sinkhole at one end that I've reported. There's sinkholes at the end of Bravo, and there's sinkholes at the end of Charlie that have not been maintained, that you've got residents out here maintaining those just to keep our planes safe. So these fees that we're being told that we're going to pay, is that in lieu of us paying our POA dues? Do we need to stop paying our POA dues so we can pay these fees? Do we all need to just stop? That's all I have.
Thank you for your time.
Brian Trail.
Good evening. My name is Brian Trail, and I want to kind of piggyback on what Paulette had stated. But before I do that, I did ask a question back in June when I was here, when this first came up about the user fee, and it hasn't been answered when I was in September. Are the user fees going to be for all of the amenities or just for the airport? Haven't got an answer to that, but that's okay. We'll get back to that. Also, will I voluntarily pay our POA dues every year, every month, however they want to pay it? But I'm not going to pay the POA dues and the user fees. Not going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Barbara Gibbons.
I just have one question. Has there been an appraisal done of the community center this year so that we know what the going rate would be if you were to sell the community center? That's my only question.
Thank you.
Victor Martinez. Mary Boutoni. Harold Manning. Depends on what you're going to say.
You got 3 minutes.
Wait a minute, does that include your answers? Wait, no, you're not going to give any answers. I'm Harold Manning, 89364 Diamond Head Drive East, a card-carrying member of the POA since 2013. For 2 years, I served on the Futures Committee along with Bob, and I also served for a brief time on the Administration Committee with y'all. What I want to do is I'm a little confused. When I looked at the proposed motion of 34, and at the rationale for it,
they don't jive, because the rationale talks about leaving discussion open, the possibility of discussion open with the city about the amenities. And yet the resolution doesn't have anything like that in there. I think that you should not cut off any possibility of dialogue with the city for the amenities that you wish to get rid of. You don't want to burn any bridges. Okay? I will go ahead and say that as far as some of the amenities that you're talking about, I think that, let me rephrase it like this. The amenities that we have are for the public good. Okay? Because at one time it was assumed that everybody who was a POA, who lived here, would be a POA member, and therefore it was for the public good. The city and its properties is also for the public good. And if you take things that were created for the public good and turn them over to a private enterprise for profit, and that is not for the public good, I suggest you think strong and hard about setting it to a private interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final speaker, Ben Casuccio.
Thank you. As you know, I ran for the POA. Congratulations. My question is to Michael. You're in charge of like the recreation centers and stuff like that?
I chair that committee.
You chair that committee. So one of the questions that I have, do we have an exact number from the beginning of pool season to the end of pool season, how many members actually use the pool?
I know that we have metric data, exact, I'm guessing no, but I know that they have tracked that, and we do have usage, not just overall, but by each pool.
We do? So that, my next question is, when you said about the pool pumps, et cetera, are there pools that are not used that much that we could close?
We've looked at that. We floated that idea at the beginning of this year. Did not get a lot of positive endorsement at the idea. It was Holiday Village that we looked at that is the most underutilized. But it's also the one that is a saltwater pool that's different, and there's some uniqueness to that. So yeah, we've looked at that at that as an option to save some money. Yes.
Thank you. My last point, I guess, is, which is not going to be looked at fondly, is that airport is for a very succinct amount of people that utilize it. A small percentage of this community has airplanes. I have a problem with me paying for the usage of something that I'll never use because I can't afford to have an airplane. So, you know, I got some real problems with us paying for an amenity that is not really used by everybody. It's a small, well, and I don't have a boat either. So, you know, it's a small use. But that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time. Okay, order please.
There are no other speakers.
I'd like to mention that Ms. Perkins just advised me that the live stream is not working, but they're working with the city to make sure they can get that up and running. The volume, the audio is, but the video is not. So hopefully we can get that remedied for tomorrow and get this meeting posted. Thank you for your comments. It's time to move to the regular agenda. The first motion we have is...
I just have a comment, if I can. You said you would not
I will make sure to discuss that with Director Tubbs for answering those questions. Those were rather simple, and it was more statistical questions, so I apologize for that. That's not normal for us to answer questions after the... Okay, thank you for your comments. So let's move to the regular agenda. First motion is 2025-33, motion to institute a use fee for members using the airport runways and taxiways. Do we have somebody that wants to make that motion?
I make that motion.
Do we have somebody that wants a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Does anybody want to have comments on this? Do we have open discussion?
Let me start the discussion, I guess. This has been something, an airport use fee has been something that's been talked about for quite a while. And it's generated the response that we see here tonight. What we're talking about is a fee to use the airport. We're not going to set that. Our general manager will study it and set what he thinks is appropriate and what's needed, given the finances, given the use of the airport, given the things that need to be done at the airport, and he'll submit what he thinks is correct to the board. The board will review it, ask questions, you know how that works, and we'll either approve it or not. But the bottom line is, if this motion is passed, there will be a usage fee. Of course, the fee is needed because there are expenses associated with the airport that are unique to the airport. It has a runway that needs to be repaved. That date is coming up fairly soon. There's things wrong with the airport. There's lighting issues. There's other things that need to be done that are peculiar and specific to the airport. And we need to plan ahead for those things. We need to have things in the budget that will pay for those things when they come due. And it's also necessary, frankly, to bring the airport in line with the other special use amenities. Golfers don't golf for free. Golfers don't pay their POA dues in golf. They pay a use fee, a pretty substantial use fee, over $3,000 for one person to golf. The marina, those people who are docking their boats at the marina, they don't pay their POA dues and get to dock a boat. No, they pay their POA dues and they pay the slip fee to dock their boat. Tennis, we don't really control tennis anymore, but it was the same thing.
Are you going to charge for aircraft that land here also?
It's my time, sir. Thank you. Now, I sympathize with the airport people who don't want to pay a fee, but fairness dictates that a fee be paid. Now let me talk about this class of membership issues that was raised. This is not a class of membership issue. If it is, then the golf memberships are a class issue. Then the marina slips are a class issue. It's not. And we do have trail fees that are supposed to be paid for golf carts to drive on our golf paths, even if you're not a golfer. If you're just a POA member and you want to drive your golf cart on the POA golf cart paths, you're supposed to pay a fee. And it's not small. But I think a lot of people don't. Now, the airport for a long time has not paid anything but their POA dues to land their airplanes. Now, when someone comes in from somewhere else and lands, the deal usually is with these people is they're not landing to buy fuel, so they contribute money that way. If they want to store their plane overnight, they can do that for a fee, or they can buy fuel. They do it that way, and it's really the problem there is how do you charge those people, because they come and they go before you even know they're there. But the people who fly regularly out of the airport, we know who you are. You live around the airport, and you just I get it that you don't want to pay a fee, but in these times, in the financial situation throughout the POA in the city, your use of the airport is a special use. You need to pay a fee. And another argument that I've heard against charging an airport fee is that, well, if we give the airport away to the city, which some want to do, why charge a fee? Well, because we might not do it today, or we might not do it this year, or we might not do it next year. We are planning, we are budgeting to carry this airport into 2026. This airport fee, if it's passed, would start in January of 2026. Obviously, if the airport is given away or sold or something else that we don't own the airport, we're not going to charge you a fee anymore. Now, the new owner might, and I would expect the new owner would. And you may not, frankly, fare as well with them as you would with us in terms of what the fee might be. So I guess that's all I had to say about it. I would request that the board consider this and consider passing this motion to institute this fee.
Thank you, Director Pino. Any other comments?
Yeah, I've got a couple of points, and those are all good points that Director Pino made, that no one else is using the amenities without paying for it. It isn't that we're picking on the redheaded stepchild over on the south side. I just wonder if this motion isn't a little too skinny at this time. It says institute a user fee. We haven't put in how much that should be. I wonder if our general manager shouldn't meet with some representatives from this. And thank you so much for coming, the airport people. You're very enthusiastic about what you got, and you should be. I wonder if the general manager shouldn't meet with maybe a select group of you people and try to work through this and see what a reasonable fee would be. It's certainly true, as Director Pino has mentioned, that the other amenities pay to use it above and beyond their POA dues. So if you could potentially put a group together and speak with our general manager, Mr. Goldstein, and work through this, I'm sure we could come up with a compromise that makes everybody happy. Thank you.
Just in response to that, I don't want to lose track of time and waste this opportunity, that we're still months away. I would suggest that rather than do what Director Nutting is suggesting, we're going to consider whatever the GM proposes. And he can propose from 0 to whatever he thinks is appropriate. If you meet with the people and you consider the finances, what's needed, and what they tell you about in your meeting, and you determine that the user fee should be 0, then you propose 0, and there essentially won't be a fee. But I think just to get the ball rolling, if there is an interest in initiating a fee, that we approve a fee, and then the general manager will help us determine what that fee is.
Well, just to speak to that again, I would like these interested citizens to have input into what we're going to do with what they use, and I would like to see their input before we decide what this fee should be. So, and a month or two of them not paying their fees, they haven't paid since 1971, I don't think a month or two is going to make any difference.
Any other comments? Okay, so the motion that we're voting on, 2025-33, all in favor? Got everybody? All opposed? And abstain? Two opposed. Director LaFontaine, Director Nunning opposed, and Griffey abstained. Okay, motion 2025-33 passes. We'll move on to 2025-34. Proposal motion to authorize the committee, that would be the admin, what committee is this, Director Pino?
The Amenities Study Committee.
To notify the city of Diamond Head that donated amenities as described in their resolution, the city's resolution 2025-040, is not acceptable, and B, authorize the Diamond Head Property Owners Association through the committee to market those amenities to potential buyers, including by listing them for sale with an appropriate real estate broker. Do we have a motion?
I make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, let me start this out. Another hot topic, obviously. I went through at the start of the meeting the history of how we got from the city and our general manager meeting in the spring and discussing a sale for money of the community center to the city to where we are now, which is the city saying, we want these 5 amenities and some lots for free, and we don't want to change their list of amenities, and we don't want to consider paying you any money. So that last word from the city, and that's where we are now, the last word from the city was they're drawing a line in the sand. No changes to the list of amenities, no payment of money, and this motion seeks authority to respond to that position. And the response that would be made, would be, thank you, city, but we cannot, in good conscience, give away $2.7 million of our assets. We ask for some amount of money, some payment. Now, the assets are valued at $2.7 million. According to the tax assessor, the various, I think 16 lots they threw into it, don't know what those are worth, but it's going to bring it up more than $2.7 million. Obviously, we would accept less than that. We are not asking for $2.7 million in payment. We're asking for a reasonable compensation for these substantial assets that the city obviously wants. They want the community center, they want the ball fields. We're not forcing on them contaminated lands or something of the sort that they don't want. And the motion also seeks further authority to look for other buyers, because the city may continue to draw their line in the sand, and I think it's incumbent upon us to look to see who else is out there who may want to buy amenities. Now, I don't know where we're going to find a buyer for the Twin Lakes if they can't change the zoning to something other than a park. But there are other things. The community center has a value to it, and someone could put a different type of building there. The storage yard, the maintenance yard that the city stores their equipment in, could be used for other commercial uses, so someone could have an interest in that. And so there are potential markets, and the airport obviously is on that list, and the airport should have a interest to other commercial buyers. And these are all, by the way, hopefully, situations where someone would buy an asset and keep it as it is. And if the city were to buy it, they'd keep it as it is. But there are other people out there who are trying to look into buying these things who would keep it as it is. Now, we've had a couple people approach us who are interested in buying the airport, and I think that the city scared them away. The city in Purcell scared them away because they want us to only consider them as a source for these amenities for a price of $0. Now, I've heard various arguments against or in favor of donating these rather than asking for money. One from the POA side that I've heard often is, we're all just one big community, and if we donate the amenities, it's like taking something out of your left pocket and putting it in your right pocket, so it's really no change. Well, it's simply not true. POA is not the city is not the POA, the POA is not the community, the city is not the community. We're different. But if it were true, then it goes both ways. If donating the property takes your property out of your left pocket and put it in your right, then they can donate money from their right pocket into our left, and it stays in the community. So I don't buy that argument. Another argument that I've heard from the city standpoint is the city residents have already paid for these amenities once, so if the city pays for them, they'll be making payment for it again. Well, the POA members, and only the POA members, have been paying for the amenities for 55 years. In the last 5 years or so, over half of the city residents are not POA members. They're not paying anything towards amenities. But more importantly, POA dues subsidize all the amenities. User fees don't cover it. When I pay for my golf membership, that doesn't, and everybody else pays for the golf membership, that doesn't cover the cost of golf. POA dues go towards it. The airport, that your dues for the airport doesn't cover the cost for the airport. So where does the extra money come from? It comes from POA dues. And that's true for all of the different amenities. The members' dues subsidize all amenities. The members pay more than non-members to live in this community. If a non-member goes into the clubhouse and buys a $10 hamburger, they spend $10 for that hamburger. When a POA member goes into the clubhouse and buys a burger, they pay for their meal, but their dues paid for that building to be there, and their dues paid for that, the lights to be on and the stove to work and the food to be bought. So to say that they've already paid, the city residents have already paid for the amenities is just plain out false. Take Twin Lakes. Non-members can use and do use Twin Lakes all the time. There's no way to police that. We don't even try to police that. Non-members use Twin Lakes without paying anything. There's a lot of non-members who use the golf trails without paying anything. So the argument that 10,000 city residents have already paid for the amenities when they are being heavily subsidized by the 3,500 POA members is simply not true. And those are the only two arguments that I've really heard that would justify the hardline, hardball stance that the city is taking with us. They're simply saying, give us everything we want, the way we want it, how we want it, and for free. That's the deal. I get that. I understand it from their perspective. They're playing hardball. They're holding more cards than we are. We don't have a lot of options here at the POA. But with so much talk of community and what is best for the community, it's being lost that the POA is part of this community. And it's not going to disappear after amenities are transferred to somewhere else. The POA needs to survive. It has cash needs like any other business. And it's unreasonable to expect for it to give away substantial assets that could be used to meet its cash needs and just give them away. I don't think that's reasonable. My message to the city, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, is just because you're holding those cards and you can force this on us perhaps if you wait long enough or push the right buttons, that doesn't mean you should. What you should do is what's reasonable and what's fair, and you should pay something. I mean, come on, $2.7 million. Pay 10%, $270,000. You can find the cash. We'll make a deal with you. We'll make it easy payments. You know, show the community spirit you espouse and make some form of payment. You're still getting a heck of a deal, city. My message to the board members who are going to consider this motion is join with me to help strengthen the POA's finances. Let's get some money back coming our way in the coffers. My message to the board members also is be aware of your fiduciary duties here. Your fiduciary duties flow not to the city, but to the POA. Be aware of the corporate waste doctrine, which would impose personal liability for transferring away corporate assets for no fair consideration. I suggest and I submit that anyone of us who personally own $2.7 million in assets, and for whatever reason you had to get rid of them quickly, you may have a fire sale. You may make someone a pretty good deal, but you're not going to give them away. That's unreasonable. So treat these assets, board members, if this was your own money. Act like it's your own money, and what would you do? You wouldn't give it away. You would say, you got to pay us something. Or if the city just refuses, you'd find somebody else who could. My message to the POA members who are demanding that this happen, and demanding that it happen quickly, you're demanding $2.7 million of assets be transferred away for $0 when the POA has significant cash needs of its own, and our general manager spoke of that today. Dues are going up. You can count on fees going up. My message to you, and especially those of you who live on the golf course, be careful what you wish for. I hope if this goes forward, I hope you're as still as happy with your position a couple years down the road as you may think you are today. This is about the survival of the POA, and this POA cannot give away such substantial assets for nothing.
Thank you, Director Pino. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I guess I'll talk now since I have the alternative direction that I submitted via the next proposal on the agenda. It's important to point out that that proposal is not to accept the city's offer. My proposal that I've brought forward is to take it to membership for them to look and ultimately make the decision of what should happen to these amenities that have been in the POA's care for over 50 years at this point. I'll certainly let you know where I stand on it. I ran to be a part of this board really with a singular mission statement, which is to preserve Diamond Head. It is my hope that when I'm done with my 4 years here, I will look back and I will have said, hey, I left this POA, I've left this organization in a better position than I found it. My hope is that our children and our grandchildren will know the amenities that we've known over the last several decades. And I believe that the city is in a better position as we sit today to make the kind of capital investments that are needed and are going to be needed to these amenities. But I think the people deserve the right to make that decision, right? Because Bob's spot on. There is value in this real estate, and we could go get you a fistful of cash, but the amenities that we've come and known won't look the same, won't be different. I mean, we could certainly find a real estate developer to put condos where Twin Lakes is today. We could sell the airport to a company that might be able to commercialize it and run it, but the members down there, you're certainly going to pay a fee for that. You know that once it becomes not POA, you know that it'll change. I hate saying the words we used to have. We used to have, and I feel like as I've gotten older and gotten into my 40s, I spent a lot of time saying we used to have. Man, we used to have a community center. I remember, I've probably only been in that place when I wasn't voting 3 or 4 times, but every time that I was in there, there was a memory made, right? I think about my friend Tracy and Gary's wedding reception there. And I was sitting outside with a lady named Kim from Slidell, and Kim said, man, how awesome is it that Diamond Head has this kind of facility for these kinds of events? This is really fantastic. We don't have anything like this in Slidell. Now, where's the community center today? It's shuttered, right? Not being used. Why? Well, because the POA has been unable to raise the capital necessary to open it safely. The city is going to have mechanisms not available to us as a POA. There's funding streams through the state, through various grants. Look at all the construction and all the investment the city's been able to make in other areas around us. Guys, this is all one chance to provide our members the opportunity to make the decision to ensure that these amenities are here for our children and grandchildren. If they say go sell it, if we do this vote and are told to go sell it, we can. And like I said, we can go and bring back money, but we're going to spend a lot of time saying we used to have. And so hope you consider that when you vote. All I'm asking, all I'm proposing is let the people decide.
Thank you, Director Tubbs. Any other discussion?
Yeah, just by way of adding a little bit, not picking either side, we're in this situation because short-sighted, narrow-minded people won't pay their dues. We have 60% of the people paying. We don't know what it's going to be next year. We're in this situation because people want all this, but they don't want to pay anything for it. Some of the airport people are saying, well, if we can't do with the airport, we're not going to pay our dues. That's up to them. But there's 40% of this community that loves what we have but doesn't want to pay the, $62 a month, soon to be a little bit more potentially, and that's the sad thing. So that's why we're backed into a corner about getting rid of these amenities wherever they might go. But down the road, if everyone decides not to pay for these wonderful amenities we have, there might be other amenities that disappear. Who knows? Golf course, swimming pools, there might be nothing. You can't get something for nothing, and this beautiful community is getting into this place. The covenants has expired, but on a volunteer basis, if more people would pay their dues, we wouldn't have to be worried about closing things and making them something else and losing memories and not making memories. So just from a passionate point of view, it's a darn shame that you people out there are not paying your dues, and I can't call you what I called you last time because I got chastised. But anyway, you're still what I said you were, and it's a shame that they're not paying their dues.
Thank you, Director Muddy.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not against negotiating with the city, but I don't like the part of this proposal that talking about seeking potential buyers and appropriate real estate brokers. I'd like to see them remain for the use of the general public in Diamond Head, whatever that takes. That's all.
Thank you.
I want to throw something out here, too. You know, this talks about having an election. You know, the last time we had an election to get a new director, it cost us $15,000. We really don't have the money right now to do that. I mean, if we want to have an election, this needs to happen when we have our regular election. I have nothing against that, but we can't afford that between now and the end of the year. I mean, we're out of money. I'm sorry, but that's where we're at.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
May I approach the
Yes.
I've asked to speak at this point because apparently discussion is being had about both of the motions. And I don't think that my observations I'm about to give... Yes, sir.
Just to let people know, could you tell them who you are?
Yes, I'm sorry, Rick Tubertini, and I've been on and off general counsel for the POA for about 30 years. And I'm on again. So I advise the POA on legal matters. Thank you for that. And I'm not advising on legal matters today, because if I were, this would be something that would perhaps be privileged or and something we would need to discuss in special session. But what I'm doing is observing and informing this board of some questions that are bound to arise if this matter or is put to a vote of the membership. Today was the first day that I've seen this motion, the second motion, the motion to put a vote of the sale, or actually the vote is to whether or not to donate the amenities to the city. The president, who's not here today, asked me to attend. If I had known before today that this motion existed, I think I learned when I was on vacation late Friday night, I would have spoken to Director Tubbs about it. Haven't had the opportunity. The observations are this: there's nothing in the bylaws or the Mississippi Nonprofit Corporation Act that gives the members the authority to decide whether to donate anything to anybody or to sell anything to anybody. Section 5.4 of the bylaws, entitled Duties and Powers, says that the board of directors shall have, quote, control and management of the affairs and the business of the corporation, end quote. The question becomes, is this a referendum that's being proposed? If it's a referendum, you're asking the membership to tell us what you want us to do, and we'll do it. And if the membership votes to donate to the city, then the board will instruct the lawyers to draw up the papers. I spoke to a local title lawyer today. I said, if that happens, and the members vote, but the board doesn't vote, are you going to write title insurance? The answer is no, because there is not an entity or a vote that's authorized either by the bylaws or by the statutes that govern this organization. So perhaps it's a survey. Maybe it's an advisory vote, I don't know. Maybe it's just give us your opinion, and we'll consider it. If that's so, good news. You probably don't have to issue the $15,000 worth of mailing. You probably don't have to give the 30 days notice if it's going to be just a survey or an advisory vote. But more importantly, who gets to vote? Does Purcell get to use its 400 plus votes? At the last election, I think there were 375 votes. Purcell used its ownership of 400 something lots, and if I've got the number wrong, tell me,
to establish a quorum, but chose not to vote. I don't know if For Sale will choose to use its votes, and perhaps if 375 show up, For Sale uses its votes, For Sale gets to decide whether these are donated to the city. It's a question. I don't know the answer. Who are the members? That's another question. As we were leading up to the election, where Dr. Griffin was elected, the question became, what about those who don't pay dues? Are they members? What about the ones who pay voluntary dues? Are they really members? We don't know, and so a membership committee was established that's currently studying this issue. My firm was asked to study step 1, which we're doing right now. We'll report to you on that shortly. This all leads me back to the duties of the board as defined by the bylaws. I didn't have time to look deeper into what Mississippi says, but other states have said that doing such is an abdication of the authority of the board. Non-delegable fiduciary duties cannot be delegated to the members. I don't know if that's the issue in the question of Mississippi or not. I know it's a question. So I just wanted to let this board know that it gives me some heartburn because we don't know the answers to what will happen from a legal standpoint if, in the current state of affairs, this goes to a vote of the membership. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I don't think this is an easy, either motion is easy. I think we're trying to wade through waters that nobody has had to wade through. I think that everybody on this board is trying to do the best thing they could do for this POA, even if there's something that differs in opinion, and that's where we stand today. Is there any
I have
other?
a question for Rick while he's here.
Sure.
In 2013, when we transferred the streets and drainage to the city, how was that handled? Was that a referendum? Was it just transferred? Was there a vote taken? I don't recall.
Well, I'm trying to remember. It was actually under a dedication statute. There's a statute in Mississippi when a developer, and in most states, when a developer develops a subdivision, the developer has to build the streets and the water and sewer system. At some certain point, the developer has sold enough houses where he doesn't want to maintain the streets and the water and sewer anymore, and he can take advantage of a particular statute where he tells the city, I hereby dedicate it to you. Here, take it for free. That is what was done in 2010, I think, perhaps it was. You're talking about the streets, and there were some drainage, lots of drainage areas. I really don't remember, actually, if there was a vote other than the vote of the board. I'd have to go back and look, but I do know it was under a particular dedication statute that authorized it. I wish I could remember.
Okay.
Okay, at this time,
I have just one more thing, if I may.
yes.
In relation to motion 2025-34, notify the city of Diamond Head donating amenities and that Bob has spoke about very eloquently. I just want to make the point and make sure that I understand that if I vote for this, it allows us for them to go forward and do some market research in this and that, but it doesn't actually authorize the final end, like, do we sell to this guy? Would we come back again to vote? Let's say they went out and on 2 different amenities, it was like, we found a buyer, and here's what they're offering. And then on others, it's like the city came back. I mean, this motion isn't the end point where things disappear. It just authorizes people to go out and develop the information that we would consider later. Is that accurate, or am I inaccurate?
You've got that completely accurate.
Okay.
There's always going to be, before any sale, under this proposal, or really any other proposal, as Rick just talked about, there needs to be board action to accept and to finalize any sale. So if this committee...
As well as legal review. Don't mean to interrupt you.
I'm sorry?
As well as legal review on those actions, I would think.
Oh, there would be legal review.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we all understand. I want to understand what I'm voting for. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, really what the motion, if I were to break it right down to its bare bones, is the motion just says, city, thank you, but we're going to, please keep talking to us, but we're going to try to find other buyers. That's really all it is.
Understood.
If we find another buyer, we got to come back to the board.
Right, thank you.
That's all right.
Keep one thing in mind. I don't think we've got a lot of buyers out there that's looking to buy a ball field
No,
or Twin Lakes or a community center and keep it as a community center.
agreed.
And the other thing to keep in mind, there is real-world cost in not moving quickly on this, right? I asked Rick to pull some numbers, maybe it was Andrew who did it, but it's about 230-something K a year in operational cost that we would be avoiding if we're able to, whatever the path, whatever correct path it is, I mean, that is actual savings that, we'll be incurring that cost if we do nothing.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing.
Yes.
Director Becker said that it is of some concern to him that certain amenities remain available to the membership. I think the best that could be done is that they will remain available to, well, actually, if it's bought by a private party, perhaps that can be the case. But based on what Dr. Griffin said, when these proposals come to this board, one of the things that you and the rest of you will be able to consider, if a proposal even comes to the board, is certain conditions that you put on it. And if one of those conditions is availability to the membership, or if the garden club gets a bunch of money, or a little money, and buys it, there can be conditions put on the use of that property, if that's what this board, the majority of this board, agrees to do.
That's open forum, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me throw some water on my own motion here. We, for better or for worse, we are going to be doing most of our negotiating with the city. They've already drawn as hard a line in the sand as you could possibly draw. And unfortunately, and I don't say this derogatory to anybody, but every time they hear the POA talk about in favor of donating property, it makes their hand stronger. I don't know what our chances are, frankly, of convincing them to do what I think is the right thing, to pay us something. And I think maybe the only way then to solve the dilemma of getting money for our assets is to find another buyer, and that's going to be extremely difficult, except for things, frankly, like the airport has a better shot. The maintenance yard, I think the community center is a likely target. And I'm not saying they're going to switch use, but other people can make money with those things, and they're interested in it. We apparently can't. In the city, if they won't pay, then we'll have to look elsewhere. I'm not saying I want to. I would love everything to go to the city. I just think that their position makes that hard to do.
Thank you, Director Pino. So the motion we'll be voting on is 2025-34. All those in favor? All those opposed? That motion is not passed. Sorry.
What was the vote?
Oh, sorry.
I voted in favor.
2, 3 in favor.
No, 4. Blackwood,
Blackwood,
Griffey,
and
Nutting,
4 of you are in
and
favor
Pino,
of it?
and Pino are in favor of it.
Okay.
And it fails. There were 6 against, so it doesn't pass.
So it doesn't pass. Okay. Motion 2025-35, proposal action requested, motion to initiate a vote among members of the DHPOA to accept or reject the transfer of amenities to the City of Diamond Head as described in their resolution 2025-040. Do we have a motion to open that up for discussion?
I'd make that motion.
Director Tubbs, do we have a second? Director LaFontaine seconds. Do we have any discussion, any further discussion?
I think after listening to Mr. Tupatini talk about the intricacies of this, I may want to amend the resolution to include working with council on the most appropriate avenue to conduct a vote or survey. of the motion, right? I want to make sure we do this the right way. And also, I want to better understand, I actually came into this meeting under the thinking that there was some question as to whether or not the board actually had authority without the member vote to actually dissolve ourselves of these properties. Like, I thought that was a requirement. And I think what I'm hearing this evening is different than what I had believed. But also at one point, you know, there is the potential that we have some liability as individuals that's been brought up. And my understanding, you know, previous discussion, Rick, was that taking this to a member vote would help potentially alleviate that. And so I just think we need to take a step back and spend more time with legal. But I still think we can vote, and I still think we can move in this direction. But whether it's a survey or a vote and what that looks like, I don't think the proposal that I'm bringing has to be so specific as to define all of that. I think we can be flexible in that.
So are you wanting to table this or adjust this motion?
I want to adjust the motion to just say working with council.
To amend the motion?
Yeah, I would amend the motion, just adding the phrase, working with council to determine the most appropriate avenues forward.
And efficient, it doesn't cost us much money.
Yeah, it would be great if we didn't have to spend $15,000.
We can't afford it.
Yeah.
To amend the motion to working with council.
To find the most efficient and appropriate path forward to survey membership.
Okay. Is there a second?
Do we have a second for that amendment?
Yeah. Michael, I'd like to consider you adding the wording to the motion that says dues paying members in good standing, which eliminates people who don't pay dues and members not in good standing.
Yeah, I think that.
I don't think they should have a say-so in this, and frankly, I don't think Purcell should have a say-so in this with 400 votes, because they would outweigh all the rest of the vote.
Yeah, that was my intent, so that's a good clarification, too.
So we have a second from Dr. Griffin?
Yes.
And then we will have
And
to
if there's
vote.
nothing,
And we'll have to vote on that amendment and then on the second amendment.
Yes. So any other discussion for the amended 2025-35?
Yeah, I do. I'm not quite sure I understand these amendments, but the amendments seem to have completely replaced the original. Is that, are we now beyond an amendment, and it's just a new motion? I don't know. And this wasn't a tweak, this was a complete rewrite of the motion.
Could I move to table this until we have more? I move to table.
Table the original motion of 2025-35?
I'll second that. Until we can get it cleaner and written down.
Well, I mean, I'm disappointed, but I'm okay with that, given what I heard today from council, that we can table and we can bring back next month.
Take it off the table.
Can I just make this one other comment? I'll just note that this board, there seems to be a lot of interest in this board on donating these assets to the city. The board has yet to vote on that. I mean, I've said it before, if someone really wants to do it, bring a motion. I mean, you guys are saying that time is running out, we need to do this quickly, but no one's bringing the motion that will do it. Forget this motion. If you guys want to donate it, bring that motion. Because we have yet to do that. We've done a lot of motions, but no one has brought the key one.
Well, we may not have brought a motion, but we certainly have expressed it in several different ways that we want to offload these amenities because we can't afford them. One of the reasons is they're not paying dues, as I whined about earlier, but the other one is we're not a for-profit organization, and our taxes are going to be $250,000 this year, which we haven't been paying. So we have implied it on a couple of different occasions, and yes, you're right, there's no motion, but do we really need a motion when we've already said this is what we want to do?
Yeah, yes.
I thought we're tabling this until a later date, okay?
Voting to table?
We're voting to table it at a later date.
That particular motion.
And you can come up with any motion you want, or bring the table back up, or whatever, but we're finished with this conversation for the night, I'm hoping.
We have to vote on
You know?
it.
We'll
We have
take
to
the vote
vote
now.
for
We
the
already have the
table.
motion in the second, so all in favor of tabling 2025-35?
Okay,
Everybody but Director Tubbs.
okay.
All opposed?
Yeah, we need to go in executive committee.
Director Pina, do we have any members signed up for non-agenda items?
Last chance. I knew I'd get somebody. So how do you, what?
Are we going to do executive session?
We'll have to see if,
Yes, we have one, Kate Burgoyne.
So just a simple comment, but the trunk or treat is sponsored by the POA, correct? And it is scheduled on the same night as the POA meeting next month at the same time.
The what?
The trunk or treat
Oh,
at the club that is sponsored by the POA is on the same night, same time as this meeting. So somebody needs to look at that, because those of us who are going to participate there also come here. And I would really appreciate if agendas would come out earlier, because they're coming out today. We don't have time to look at it, to have opinions about it, to do any research. So the agenda has got to come out earlier. This is a professional organization. It needs to be run professionally.
I agree, because we didn't get it either.
tell me about it.
thank you. Yes, Director
Can I
LaFontaine?
have a motion to assess to the executive session for personnel matters?
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? All right, we're going to,
We're going to executive committee. It's probably going to take a long time, too. I just forewarn you.
Do we want to adjourn this before we do that, or come back and adjourn it after? I think we should try to adjourn it.
I think we have to come back and adjourn after the executive session.
Well, I'm sure you'll all wait here for an hour and a half, but we love your company.
Thank you all for coming. The attendance was great. I know that we're going through some troubling times, but we're trying to wade the waters as best as possible.